and crisis and a call for far-reaching change. Unless we understand the new apartheid, we cannot start the urgent task of dismantling it. This book is provocative yet necessary, a layered and nuanced snapshot of South Africa, why we are not okay. The new apartheid stirs up deep thought and reflection. Somebody asks you from elokishini lapho engiphuma khona eThembisa, akahlala eMasantini, akagelezanga nokugeleza. Awungitshele mfana, le ncwadi le new apartheid, what is this new book about? What is the new apartheid? Simplify it for me.
That was a brilliant reading, by the way. And the book essentially is saying apartheid is still with us. We thought we killed it. We thought we destroyed it in 1994. But even though the government is no longer giving us apartheid, apartheid is still in our society. And the legacy of apartheid continues to this day. That's what the book is about.
How?
So the thing I tried to show in the book, which I think is very important for this moment, is that in 1994, something very important happened. Yes, the ANC got state power. But what happened to the power that was in the state before that? Well, that power went into the private sphere, the private sector. It went into the private parts of South Africa where the government doesn't have power. And so when I say apartheid did not die, it was privatized. I mean that in 1994, apartheid went from government power into other forms of power in the economy, in ownership, in where we live, in technology, in law, in private security guards, in businesses. And so even though we have a democratic government, when we really look at our everyday lives, who controls our everyday lives? Who has power? Is it the government, or is it the private parties that exert that power over us? And in that private world of malls, of businesses, of guards, who holds the power?
Very interesting. A lot of us would think we are free now. Apartheid is no longer with us. It's not around anymore.
Yeah.
But our main issue is the economic, economic emancipation that we are all after.
Yeah.
We need the land.
Yeah.
And some of your thoughts as far as that is concerned. Land obviously controls the economy. It's a big part of the economy. Land and economy.
There's no doubt about that. One of the things I show in the book is that the ANC government has failed in its duty to people, especially Black people, to break apartheid hold over South Africa. And so what we thought in 1994 is if we have a democratically elected government, well, then obviously that government will then help the people and make sure that, resources are distributed to them, and slowly but surely they can pick themselves out of the poverty into which apartheid placed them. But what we actually saw was that apartheid power, which, as I said, went into the private world, started to influence the ANC as a government and diverting its priorities away from giving people land, away from giving people basic services, towards protecting the economic interests that have always been served by our economy. And so when we look at land, we have to ask ourselves, why after 3 decades have we not redistributed land? Because basically the government has decided not to. And that is a question we need to ask. Why would the government decide not to? And for me, It's because private interests have diverted the government's program.